All right, here we go. Last box on the 1-6 notes. And this time we're going to talk about losing a root and make sure that we don't lose a root. This is kind of the opposite situation as an extraneous solution, where with the extraneous solution we did all our math correctly, came up with an answer that ended up actually being false when we plugged it back in. Here we can do something very similar if we are not careful. So let's just kind of think for a second. Hey, I've got these two expressions set equal to each other, and each of them are some products. They're multiplying things together. If I had x equal 1 right here, I'm going to kind of ignore what's out front, but what's 1 minus 1? Well, that's 0. So 0 times whatever is 0. And over here, 1 minus 1, if I had x again equal to 1, would be 0, and 0 squared is 0, and 0 times 3 is 0. So just by looking at it, we can see that x equals 1 is at least one of our solutions. There may be others, but we see that x equals 1 is a solution. And so I want to go through here and kind of talk about how we can miss that if we aren't careful. So looking at this, a very tempting thing to do is go say, hey, wait a second, I've got x minus 1 on both the left and the right. Let's just divide each side by x minus 1. And be careful, what I'm showing you right now is wrong. It's going to lead you to a false answer. So just to be real clear, let's write that out. False. This is, we'll lose a root. All right, if we have 4x times x minus 1 equals 3 times x minus 1 squared, and we're thinking that, hey, you know what, I'm going to divide each side by x minus 1, and so the squared, just to write it out, means x minus 1 times x minus 1. If we divided each side by x minus 1, that right there is the step that will lose the root for us. So it would leave us with 4x equals 3 times x minus 1. And so that's 3x minus 3. We would subtract 3x from each side and get x equals negative 3. Okay? And that is going to be one of our solutions, but we don't have anywhere over here. We don't have x equals 1 as my solution. Where is it? Well, we lost it by dividing each side by negative 1 and not, or by x minus 1, and not considering that as a root. So let's come back and show us and take a look at the right way to go about this. Let's not divide it out. Again, you could if you were being very careful and made sure to consider that number as a root. But let's just multiply it all out and not get too fancy here. So 4x times x minus 1 is 4x squared minus 4x. And that's being set equal to 3 times x minus 1 squared. And so x minus 1 squared means x minus 1 times x minus 1. That's 3 times x squared minus 2x plus 1. And then if we distributed that 3, and so make sure you do your exponents first. That's why we squared that part there. We get 4x squared minus 4x equals, now we can distribute that out, 3x squared minus 6x and plus 3. Okay, going to subtract 3x squared from each side. Going to add 6x to each side and minus 3 from each side. So minus 3x squared plus 6x and minus 3. And I did that rather than subtracting 4x squared and adding 4x because just wanted to keep my a value positive. So we have 4x squared minus 3x squared is x squared. 4x plus negative 4x plus 6x is plus 2x, and then minus 3 equals 0. Now this here will factor out for us. We get what two numbers multiply to give you 1 times negative 3. So multiply to give you negative 3, but add to give you 2. And so we're going to have x plus 3 and x minus 1. And set them both equal to 0. We get x equals negative 3 and positive 1. We kept our root. We didn't lose it by dividing it out at the beginning. So again, this is over here is our correct method. The one on the left, be very careful. That's going to lead you astray. So I'm going to write it out explicitly. If you divide by x minus 1, you have to consider a root. Oops. Consider consider whether it's a root. All right. Hope that helps.